Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Good Morning Anambra. My name is Chidimma Orawa.
And I'm Ajuluchuku Okawe.
And we also gladly welcome you to the first day of the month of April in the year 2024. AJ, how do you feel being alive today after your celebration yesterday? I mean, Easter celebration.
I'm grateful, and I'm even looking for somebody to prank on this first day of April.
Okay, yeah, today is April. Okay, April Fool. Wow.
So be on the watch out.
All right, welcome to our breakfast TV show this morning, and we're starting with what the papers say. I mean, the stories that are trending on our national dailies. But we're going to start with ABS website this morning. Let's take a break. When we come back, we introduce our guests and go straight into discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show, and with us this morning is Samuel Ololo. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Samuel.
Good morning, Chidima. Good morning, Ndanambra. Happy New Month and happy Easter to all of us.
Yeah. All right, quickly we are starting with the stories on our website this morning. The first story that says, Saludo asks privileged individuals to use position to improve society. All exploration. Anambra Assembly received report on operations of SEPCO from House Committee. And then we have Easter. Bishop Ezoka decries high rate of economic hardship in Nigeria. These are the three stories we have on our website this morning. Over to you, Samuel.
The governor asking privileged privileged individuals to use their position to improve the well-being of the society. I think he is only calling back what has always happened in the past. And I know those times when we used to have those who we call Akajuno or Menora and a lot of it all, they were very particular about what they do in the society. Even though in our present day society, we still have some of those people who individually repair road. We have people who give out palliatives, even though I don't like using that word, and I'm going to give my reasons for it. I know when they name different kinds of things, they use it to support the society. But I think why we are being intentional, we should use it as an immediate solution to the problems bedeviling Nigeria as a nation and then the society. But long term, why the governor and the government now at the federal level are encouraging the haves to help the have-not, they should put up a plan, a framework on how they can dutifully get some of those resources of the have and use it to improve the lots of the have-nots. I mean, that is what the society is like. If you go to Britain, they are heavily taxed. And it's not that they are taxed and nothing comes out of it. If you have a car, per number of cars you have, there's a particular amount you pay as tax for it. The kind of house you live, there's a kind of tax you pay as tax for it. And a lot of other things that you do. In that way, they are making sure that they regulate the resources. And I think our government will need to look towards that direction too. But not to tax the citizens to get more resources to enrich themselves, but look for ways that are creative to get some of these resources to improve the lots of other citizens. If you engage any government actor as saying there are no resources, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to do other things, I think they can even, the governors have talked about public-private community partnership. They can use that now, have a bank for it. People put in, we have a 5-year, 8 years plan for it. I know the governor has his Vision 2070. And personally, we are still looking at aligning what is currently going on with that Vision 2070 so that at the end of it all, we know that we are achieving something. But ordinarily, it is important for those who are well-to-do to help those who are struggling.
Now, talking about the public-private community partnership, and you're talking about pulling resources and probably putting it in a particular place, the government will now know the needs of the people and use it to actualize those needs. I mean, to do and solve the problem that the people are passing through. But do you think that people, I mean the philanthropists or the India carjackers, that they will be comfortable enough to pull their resources and put it so that the government will manage it for them? Because I feel that they will be more comfortable with like coming and say, this project is what I want to do, and the government will tell them, all right, go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
Okay, so what you have just said, it's still in line with Bishop Ezoka for decrying about economic situation in the country. Now, let's look at it this way. It depends on the program that the government is running. People help for different reasons. Sometimes some people help because they are now nursing the idea of going to political office. So they want to make their names known. Sometimes other people help because they want to also become one of the cream de la cream of the society. Other times some people help because they are passionate to help. Now, in all this, they are all helping. I want to believe that if the government, be it at the local government level, which has been moribund since that we are crying that it should be revived, or the state government level or the federal government level, look for an incentive, possibly at the federal level, you imagine these people, MFRO, OFRO, and CON, that depending on what you have done, they give you that national award. Okay. Typical example, these people who call themselves for Harris Fellows, PHF, this Rotary Club International, then the Rotary International. There's a particular amount of money that you would have given to the organization, then they give you that name for Harris Fellow, PHF. So sometimes people want to look up to getting that kind of recognition. So they keep giving to Rotary. They are not saying they are doing it themselves. So if we can use that kind of model to let the state government say, bring out a well-recognized fellow position or title that they give to people who can give them up to a particular amount of money that they are going to judiciously use to improve the resources of the citizens, showing that what this person gave, the state used it to do this. And at the end of it, we are expecting him to give us 10 billion naira for us to recognize him as a particular title that they are going to give to him. Currently, he's at 5 million, 5 billion, or 5 million, or whatever it is. These are the things we have done with it. He will not be like, oh, I'm seeing the impact of what I've given to the state government and what I've done with it. But since I'm expecting a recognition from the state when I get to this amount, let me there will now be more of that collective resource pooling that the government can effectively use to improve the lot of the society.
All right, thank you so much. That's a very good initiative, and I hope that some people listening to us, especially government at different levels, both federal, state, and local government, that they key into this particular innovation and see what to benefit from that. Quickly, let's go over to the papers we have for you this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Chidima. And the first paper we have for review is the Daily Times, and the banner headline is talking Bishop Kuka to federal government, provide template that will put Nigeria on path of national healing. And the writer says the path must include deliberate policy of inclusion that will end immoral culture of nepotism. And we have up there, first quarter of 2024, Nigerian equities market surges by 18.2 trillion naira despite economic headwinds. We have Army will ensure total defeat of insurgent orders. That's coming from Lagbaja. Tinubu's promise to transform Abuja turning out successful. That's coming from Wiki. Probably residents of Abuja will need to tell us how that is panning out. Kebbi government accepts resignation of chief imam of oldest mosque. Proof Matawale gave palliatives to bandits or faced prosecution. APC Northwest tells PDP. NDLA intercepts Qatar-bound illicit drug concealed in cassava court. Sean's 5 million naira bribe. Because of want of time, let us take the Punch. The banner headline for the Punch is saying, Easter, governors, senators beg Nigerians over hardship over soon. Says hardship over soon. Tinubu will steer Nigeria to greatness, says Zulum. Other governors preach love, condemn crimes. Set deadline on war against terror. Kuka tells president. Pope seeks peace in Africa. Banks eye Eurobonds, foreign investors for 4 trillion naira fresh capital. Naira closes at $1,309 as banks sell 2.5 billion naira. Wow. Dollars rather. Dangote 106 others get tax holidays, over 2.5 trillion investment. And then we have here Delta bloodbath, fleeing Okwama, villagers lament hunger, snake bite. And we have TCN raises alarm over planned attacks on power facilities. Police began search on Benue man drowns in Ogun. Confusion as man dies in car during Good Friday. This and all we have for you on the Daily Times and the Punch newspaper. Quickly, let's see where we're talking about the banner headline of the Daily Times say provide template that will put Nigeria on path of national healing. I think this is something that we've been hearing over and over again from different quarters, from different, this time it's coming from the clergyman, renowned political activist, Reverend Father Bishop Asad Kuka, you understand? So is this something that, apart from the fact that we've been hearing this thing, but no government seems to have taken the bull by the horn to actually get us on that path of national healing. When we're talking about national healing, we're talking about having a leader that is detribalized, getting this country to work the way it should be. So
I think it will, unfortunately, will still bring me back. Many persons have said elections are over, we should move on. But the question is the after effect, the ripple effect. How are things happening? I want to bring up a case of, now to use it to compare to what Bishop Kuka had said, of what is going on in Abia State that we all know, and what is going on in Benue State. Abia State used to also be the den of IPOB. They do a lot of things there. Other times they disturb there too, even though it became more prominent in Anambra State. After a change of government, we barely hear about some of those security and security crises and issues around insurgency in that state. Why? It is another discussion for another day. Now, the same thing is happening in Benue State, right? Where we hear about terrorists, Fulani headsmen, bandits, killing villagers, destroying them. After the change of government, a Reverend Father Alia, just yesterday complained that some people don't want him to develop the state from his own mouth. Whether he knows those people or he does not know them is another case for discussion. And what we want to believe is there are people who are intentionally stifling down development in Nigeria for their own personal gain or for whatever reasons. They are intentionally doing it. For Bishop to tell the president and the government to get us a template for development, I mean, it's not a new call, really. For crying out loud, currently the 10th Assembly is doing the Constitution review to amend certain part of the Constitution. This is another template. For crying out loud, the president himself, and just as every other governor, they had their mandate, they had their manifestos. What are they doing to really achieve that manifesto? It's another template. So let's not make these things appear so arbitrarily that we don't even know what they are talking about. What is the template? The president, if you look at their appointment, would you say they are making it inclusive? If you look at what is going on in the country, every week you see tribalistic statements and comments going on. And these people do it unrepentantly. Even when you puncture it, they own it up and tell you to go to hell and say a lot of other things. Is Nigeria going to grow in this kind of scenario? So I think, unfortunately, we don't want to conclude that we have missed the mark towards liberting Nigeria to greatness, because it can happen at any time and at any point. If not, we would have said we have missed several opportunities to really get Nigeria to be working towards the pathway of development. What do I mean? We understand, we should appreciate that we have close to 250 ethnic groups. Also, there should be strength in our diversity. Really. There are a lot of things each ethnic group has to offer. So, when you're given an appointment, even when that appointment is restricted to just say 5, and you recognize 5 ethnic groups, does it mean that other appointments or other appointed positions, there are no of those ethnic groups who are competent enough to also handle those things? These are the things that people see without you even saying that you are doing a lot. People know that, okay, this person is carrying us along. And not from every sensitive position, even the non-sensitive ones, you are carrying in a particular group of persons. And you're expecting people to now say that we have a country. I mean, before we say we are a nation, everybody must believe in it. And beyond believing in it, they must contribute what they have. In fact, it's even at that point of letting your resources into a movement or into a process to show that you believe in it, and not just mere words. So we are adding to the words and the call of Bishop Kuka, telling the president that they should give us a framework. And let it not be so arbitrarily. They have their manifesto, which they have said this is what they are going to do for the people. In doing that, they should make sure human resources are evenly picked, and then when they're sharing the natural resources, every natural resource should come into the water of the government.
Thank you so much. And still on this issue, on the banner headline of the Punch newspaper, I'm trying to knot two stories here together. Governors, senators beg Nigerians say hardship over soon. That's what they are saying. And then Tinubu will steer Nigeria to greatness, says Zulu. And in the other paper, we saw where Wike was coming up to tell us that Abuja is taking the shape that Tinubu, probably the transformation Tinubu promised. And if Abuja, which is the FCT, is taking that transformation and the sitting minister is saying it, what happens to the larger Nigeria, where you and I feel that they are the same people are now coming to beg us that hardship? Don't you see there's contradiction in these are governors, sitting governors, coming out to tell us contradicting stories on issues that ordinarily we should be feeling?
So what is going on in all this is a disconnected reality of our leaders, between our leaders and the citizens. They have whatever arrangement, the utopia society in their head, and so every day in their mind they think they are working towards achieving that utopian society that they have in their head. Whereas, of course, reality would always speak with facts and figures, using the statistics. So when they wake up, they have their meetings, they spend money, they approve money with the mind of what they have in their head, thinking it is working that way. And that was also what happened during Buhari's tenure. At first, we were told that we should give Buhari, and that he just entered. What do we think he's going to achieve under 100 days in office? I should give him time, like 2 years. After 2 years, they said, no, that what PDP did, that PDP has destroyed the nation. We should give him like one tenure. And then when it was time for the second tenure, they said, how do we expect him to complete or to repair
the damage
PDP damaged 16 years ago, just in 4 years? We should give him 8 years. Now we gave him 8 years, half of the 16 years. We went how many years back? A lot of persons give different years that we have gone back. And this is what is happening now. So they have that utopian society in their head where they think this is what I want to give to the people. And every day they have their meetings, every day they do a lot of things, thinking that they are actually living up that society. And that is why Wike will come out now and tell you Abuja is working. But if you meet the Abuja people, you find out that it will just be a section of people. And even if it is working, it might just be road. What happens to security? What happens to food? What happens to education? What happens to health? Abuja is working, but 3 days ago, P2B he promised 2 million naira to a health facility, which he just redeemed. But Abuja is working. So they are living out what is in their head, really. But I think that is where we have that issue. There should be a mechanism. And that is why when the youth of our time use the social media to cry out, if these people want to perform, I think they should just look for a way to sieve out what people are saying in social media. Put them in a template. Those who are at the extreme, you put it. Those who are saying near what is happening, you put it. Those who are telling you the truth, you put them. Then you carry out the scale to know.
Exactly. That way you'll be able to feel the pulse of the people.
So then you know, I mean, there are times for review and reflection. Do they actually do it? And when they do it, what really do they reflect on? And then the governor's telling us that we should be careful, we should be patient.
Patient, yeah.
Well, we would love to be, but for how long, really? And we knew that we are running January to December budgeting system. And even the current budget that has been signed by the government, the first day of January, is now being questioned. One, by fuel uncertainties around fuel. It's also being questioned by FS problems. It's also being questioned by the budget padding that we are talking about. Yeah. So I think if we really want to see that these people are really working to our favor, what we want to see now is, let us go back to this budget, because if you look at the budget, you know the interest and the propensity of a nation to grow. But with what they have there for us, it's not going to affect us. So they want to first of all feed themselves completely. After they are not satisfied, of which they would never be, before they will now come to us. And by then, our children would have gotten old, they would have all died off. What happens to us?
If you ask me, I'll just say that these people are just playing their intelligence, because they know, they actually see what people are going through, and then they go through social media, see what people are even submitting, their writing and everything. So they read it. Most times they might just read it and be laughing, and just don't mind it. They just get used to it. Leave these people, they'll get used to it and all that. But well, let's just pray that probably this call from Kuka will do something, and then we keep writing and we keep talking about it and say, plead with their conscience to do the right thing. If Abuja is working, other states in Nigeria need to work. In fact, Nigeria needs to work.
Individuals in Nigeria needs to work.
Because people are suffering, people are hungry in the streets. Look at, we just celebrated Easter, but some people, they didn't even have, not even a cup of rice to cook in their house yesterday. It was that bad.
Very, very bad.
It was that bad.
Very, very bad.
All right, quickly, let's see what we have in the front pages of Vanguard and the Independent. Let's start with Vanguard newspaper this morning. Recapitalization, banks sweat over exclusion of 3.8 trillion naira retained profit. I mean, that's the big story with riders. It is unfair to banks, shareholders. Investment analysts, exclusion in line with Basel III standard. CBN source, analysts project forest inflow, further naira appreciation. See fresh measures and acquisitions happening soon. And then we can still see down there, NSCIA to governors, stop asking Tinubu to curb insecurity in your state. Okwama residents trapped in forest, send SOS to Tinubu and Oberevori, their governor. Okay, up there. Edo Giba, 16 men, 1 woman who want to succeed Obasaki. Tinubu's aide, Tanko in verbal war over Peter Obi. Our leaders behave like men in drunken stupor. Kuka. Why Nigeria's all belongs to the north by Usman Bagaje. Easter, Obi governors orders tax Christians on love and sacrifice. Eco Disco, Dr. Tinuade holds fort as MD CEO. Aviation fuel, domestic airlines ground over rising price of Jet A1. And then quickly, let's see what we have in the front page of Daily Independent. CBN new capital base, 5 leaders may seek license downgrade. Police confirm abduction of 3 Unical students. Palliatives not solution to hardship, says Bayelsa governor. Kuka asks Tinubu to place a plan towards achieving food security. APC should wade into rift between El Rufai, governor, Sani, says party's former national working member. We are determined to defeat terrorism, banditry, chief of staff. APC urges Nigerians to stay hopeful of a prosperous future. Angola to open visa investment center in Port Harcourt tomorrow. Serap gives the governors, FCT minister, 7 days to publish agreements, account for 5.9 trillion naira and 4.6 billion naira loans. Obi celebrates Easter with inmates, says we are all prisoners. Wow, that's a powerful message. But I know you want to talk about this particular one, talking about Serap giving the governors and the FCT meter 7 days to publish agreements and account for the 5.9 trillion naira and also the 4.6
billion dollar loan. And this came after the governor of Kaduna State, the current governor, Sani, cried, saying that his predecessor left him with an, liability that is so huge that he's even finding it difficult to pay salaries.
So this I would call this once again, conspiracy of the elite. For crying out loud, when I saw the list, starting from when El-Rufai got into office to when he handed over for that 8 years. Prior to election period, that is when he borrows more compared to other times. Other times, it could be at 30, 40 billion dollars. But coming to election time, you'll be seeing 80 something plus billion, 90 something plus billion. Just, it was a pattern, it was a trend. So the question is, even the last one he borrowed, people have said he has transformed the face of Kaduna. I think Ubasani benefited from it. Possibly he also used it to push him to become, if he did not spend it on campaign financing, possibly he spent it on projects people can see to say, okay, he's working, let us vote in his man for continuity. And the man has continued now. So, and when you enter into government, you are inheriting both the liability and the assets. And that is why you are there. You campaign for the job. Look out ways to solve it. It's not, you are not expecting to have it uhuru. I think so far we will only have one person who, instead of leaving office in debt, he left money for the predecessor to use to do a lot of work. And I think that is where we should be. Of course.
But that is your duty.
But we are in a country where people that have been paid pension is being celebrated. We are in a country where people say, oh, alert governor, because they are being paid their monthly salary, which is still little. But that is the country where we are really. So when we commend all these things, we should also try to raise the bar, not giving excuses for them. Now, coming back to what Serap said, Serap is one strong social, political, and non-governmental organization that I like very well. Over the years, so let's say what Serap tries to do is to use the instrument of the law and then social cohesion to let the citizens know what is going on in government. And sometimes when they go to the court, we barely hear the closure to some of these cases that they bring up. Sometimes maybe they get out of court settlement or what have you.
Give it to them because they make Nigerians actually know what is going on.
And yeah, we need that knowledge. And I think we need that knowledge to continue our social awareness, to know what to engage and know how bad the country has gotten to. But I think it's unfortunate that we are in this point in time. And that is why I know I saw a current post that was talking about the amount each Nigerian is owing. 264,000 naira or more that each Nigerian is owing. And I still saw another post. No, is it? I know I will get that figure correctly, but I know it's around 464,000 or thereabout. Then I saw another post where CBN published that an average Nigerian don't even have close to 500,000 in their account anymore. So if you
70% of Nigerians.
Thank you very much. So now that means we are owing, but we don't have money to pay, even if that to mop up the money from
individual account
to pay. And they keep collecting money. We have argued that there is no problem really in debt, in loans, but let it go into infrastructural development that would spike up growth, that would open up the economy. So that, okay, currently we are battling for power. If you check well, if Nigerians have not really done that, when there are no power, your productivity reduces drastically. You don't work, you don't see things to use to make your normal research work, and a lot of other things. So at this level, but we keep borrowing. So I think our government needs to, even though they have taken the money, we are not excusing it. I know our future generation and the current generation will still revisit them. What we are still trying to do is to get our ass together. NSAS has given us a leap. When we started with the movement to transform Nigeria, to take back Nigeria, we got it another level. We will contain that tempo. I remembered clearly that January 1st, I cried that, or I called the youths that let us use this whole energy we are using to call out our leaders, to also check what they do in the area of budgeting, procurement, and loan, the way they borrow their loan. We need to also put our searchlight in that area, because with what they are doing, they pack a lot, they do little. If I thought they would do, then they do substandard work. It means that there are people sabotaging the growth of Nigeria. It also means there are people sabotaging our development as a people, because a lot of persons have argued that if you have the opportunity to travel, you should leave. Still, people are telling you that if you travel there, what do they want us to do, really? So I think we as citizens must ensure that our leaders are held accountable and they show us transparency. What Serap is calling now is transparency and nothing else.
Accountability. All right, quickly, before we go to other papers, NSCI is telling governors to stop asking Tinubu to curb insecurity in their state, that they should, of course, do it themselves. Now, the question is, how are they going to do that? Because we are still talking about state policing, which we've not even heard much about it lately. So how will the state now come up and, of course, tackle insecurity in their different states? See what is happening in Delta State. The people of that particular village, they are crying out because they are all in their bushes. Some people have been bitten by snake, and then hunger is hitting them so hard.
So I think what NSCIA is doing is they are looking at just a single side of the story. They are looking at one coin or one side of an octagonal issue. Let me use it that way. They cannot tell the people not to expect security, especially the governor, from the president. Mm-hmm. Number one, he is the chief commander officer. And then he is in charge of the military. And the military is an exclusive situation that lies with the president. Now, when it comes to intelligence gathering, when it comes to, in quote and unquote, the governors being the chief security officers of a state, we know they are. But do the governors control the police? Do they control the
army,
military?
The navy?
Do they control NSCDC? They don't control all these things. All what they just do is give them, collaborate with them and see what happens. But when it comes to giving instructions, it comes directly from the federal. So why won't they live up to their duties? So now this is bringing us back to that constant conversation that we're talking about. When we talk about security of the country, we hope that the country would increase or improve on intelligence gathering, intelligence sharing. When we give intelligence, we don't want to hear that the person who brought out that intelligence has been sabotaged. On the case of Okwama community killing, one of the youths who gave a real-time breakdown of what happened, at the end said, because of what he has said, that we should watch out. The army will come for him. They will be looking for him. Lo and behold, when the 19 names or so came out, that guy is one of the persons there. So it means that if I know what is going on and I talk about it, I know normally they will be like, for you to know this much, that means there's something you know. But there should be a way to go around it. Get those people closer. Get to know what other things that are not being said. And respect their human rights. But no, in Nigeria, once you have said something, you are the prime suspect, and then you go in for it. So I think for us to grow as a people, really, security-wise, we need to be on top of our game. And when it has to do with your regional cohesion, we also need to be on top of our game. And that is bringing me back to when we're talking about state policing. Instead of talking about state policing, personally, I would have the opinion that we should go regional policing, where there are stronger measures for the state under that particular region to assess security, and not when, of course, we know what is going on with, typical example, the state SIEC, that's the State Independent Electoral Commission. How the governors in Nigeria is amen and amen. Once they say this, Governor Ekugokwa, don't even go there. Well, we understand our peculiarities, and that is why we are calling for economic liberation, so that the youths and Nigerians can be economically independent to look at whoever you are and say, respectfully, we are not taking this route. This is how we want it. But the moment when you know that you must sabotage to eat, okay, it is just that way, let it continue to happen. Whether we are going all into the ditch or not, So these are really the situations that we have found ourselves in the country, and we are joining other well-meaning Nigerians to say that it should be controlled as soon as it can.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the next paper now. Drawing cue from what you just said, the Nation newspaper, the banner headline, Ondo 2024 governorship. Jimoh Ibrahim, I'm the most qualified. 9 university degrees, 2 national federal government honors, OFR, CFR, served as temporary president of the 148th General Assembly meeting of the International Parliamentary Union, IPU in Geneva 2024, and then 3 presidential jets proposed for sale. That's cost of maintenance now a burden to government. That's good. Kaduna debt, El Rufai's son, Bello disagrees with brother. Clergymen, leaders preach peace, love to mark Easter. And then the Guardian is telling us oil theft persists in Niger Delta despite militarization and private security. That's the banner headline. And then we have a picture of the production volume of oil in Nigeria. Man kills friend over motorcycle, dumps body in bush. That you can find on page 6 of the Guardian. Islamic cleric, 2 others arrested for possessing human parts in Ondo. Why Nigerians suffers unstable power supply, that is coming from TCN. Sani Wike orders get ultimatum to publish agreement account for 5.9 trillion naira and 4.6 billion dollar loans. And CSOs writes CGN lament poor state of judiciary. Residents want pro-Wike lawmakers over impeachment threats. And then we have imperative of managing fallout of the Okuma killings. Go to court, financial burden of prosecuting electoral matters in Nigerian courts. That's
all right. Let's quickly take the Daily Trust. Daily Trust newspaper. KB residents loot government and private warehouses. Palliatives not solution to hardship, Bayelsa governor. Kuka charges Tinubu on food and physical security. Ceasefire talks resume as Israel kills 400 Palestinians in 2 weeks. 20 die of Lassa fever in Benue. Kano sacks 3 health workers. Suspends 3 orders over extortion. Police queue to recover firearms in IPOB and ESN hideout. And then up there, Nigeria records 55.2 billion naira trade imbalance with UK. Easter, ACF urges prayers for security, economy. And finally, Nigerian Tribune, the big story there is still talking about Jimoh being the most qualified candidate with 9 university degrees, 2 national federal government honors, and so on and so forth. Ekiti indigents sue government over airport project, demand contract documents and financial details. We are reaping what we've sowed yesterday. Nigerian leaders are like men in a drunken stupor. The listed commercial banks may require combined 2.8 trillion naira to meet capital requirements. This is coming from a report. All right. We've really talked about this Kuka message to the president, but here is Nigerian Tribune. They changed or they twisted their own to say that Kuka said that we are reaping what we sowed as Nigerians. And I asked, what actually did we sow? Did we actually sow hardship, suffering, insecurity, or please explain better if you really understand what Kuka is saying. Or we didn't actually vote for the right people.
So personally, I think I have an unpublished article still writing on it, and sometimes I'll just say, God, give me the strength and grace to complete it. On this conversation, many a times we have been told that a society gets the kind of leadership they deserve. Other times, like Kuka had said, Bishop Kuka had said, that we are reaping what we sowed yesterday and 10 years back. And so the question now is to estray the conversation really. Yeah, we would admit that these people are coming from the same society with us, and we voted last year, right? So whether we agree or not, that situation where they say in a democracy that majority have their way or minority have their say or majority will have their way. So it can be twisted, and given that Nigeria is a country where every normal natural law or no, let me not say natural law now, because natural laws happened completely. Every normal universal law, every normal international best practices, when it comes to Nigeria to be tested, it gets flawed. So on that ground, I think we are not really being sincere to ourselves. We have Nigerian youths who have come out during NSAS to say, reform the police, give the police better capacity to deal with our issues, make the police know how to deal with us. And the same police we are trying to fight for their reform started shooting at us. I mean, they should even come out to join us and say what people are saying is the truth. But these people, they connived with the leaders and turned the gun at the youths. That is for the NSAS. And while that NSAS conversation was going on, they said, you don't take over the society or a nation this way. Wait during election. During election, you organize yourselves and then you vote a man that you want. We said, oh, okay, that's it. Let us wait during the election. But
that issue of NSAS, I mean, the police saw that we are attacking them because we are saying end police brutality. Most of them, they are the brutal ones, and they don't want all those things that doing. They don't want it to come to an end. Well, so when you are saying that we are fighting for them, I think they saw it the other way around.
No, so I think those that saw it the other way around, with all modesty, maybe they are not educated. So beyond end police brutality, there were other 5 key issues that we were looking for. So beyond that police brutality, which is the first one that we're talking about, we went beyond to say, okay, if you must end police brutality, what are other things that should be done? We said we're talking about increase their capacity, give them better welfare, make sure that they are well fed, give them nice decorum, bring out the face of the police.
Retrain them,
which is that capacity building. So in all these things, if you do all these things, they would now be better equipped, better placed to relate with us and to no more be in a brutal way. Is it a crime? No. But that apart. So looking at these whole conversations, why they are saying go to elections, we went to elections, if you register, INEC would seize your PVC. Over the years, you now saw PVCs that were thrown into channels. So many persons were disenfranchised. That is the area where we are at. So with all these things, if I struggled doing NSAS, I struggled to get my PVC and I did not get it because INEC threw my PVC away. And I went again and registered and finally got it on voting day. I said, let me vote, and they changed the figures, and finally a leader emerged. And you now say because a bad leader who was perpetrating all these things emerged, that I deserve what I get. Is it fair?
All right, we really don't have time. We need to go because we have other things to do this morning on our Breakfast TV show. But we want to say a very big thank you to you, Samuel, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you very much, Nima, for having me. Thank you.
All right, that's it for Press Review this morning. Thank you so much for being part of it. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we still have the discussion segment. Stay with us.